Convene the meeting of March 21st, 2016. Roll call, please.
Mayor Velasquez.
Here.
City Council members Clower.
Here.
Friend.
Here.
Solorio Luna.
Present.
And I have prior notice from Council Member Gomez. He wouldn't be here this evening, Mr. Mayor. City Manager Avera.
Present.
City Attorney Ravella.
Here.
Chief of Police Westrick. Here. And City Clerk Thomas Graves here.
Thank you. Tonight we have Troop 455 here, and I'm hoping they will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you will, come up and lead us.
Ready, salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's move forward to verification of agenda posting.
The agenda for the City Council of the City of Hollister meeting of March 21st, 2016 was posted on the bulletin board at City Hall on March 16th, 2016 at 12:55 p.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Thank you. We'll move forward to item A, consent agenda. Are there any items council would like to pull?
Your Honor, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I'd just like to report out that the City Council had a closed session starting at 6 o'clock. There was a conference with the labor negotiator regarding the executive management unit. No action was taken.
Thank you very much. Moving back to item A, are there any items council would like to pull?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull number 1, 9, and 10.
A5.
A5. Are there any items from the public?
I have comment cards for item A3. Mr. Snow?
Are there any other items?
Yes. A4, A5,
A4, A5,
A6, A8, A9, A10. That's it.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 4-0 vote. Move to item A1.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it's just a correction on the minutes, and that would be on page 7 of the minutes, D and number B, the report from Management Service Director Chambliss. That is correct, but when it comes down to the different parks, that when we were talking about Geary Park, Dunn Park, Park Hill, those are the commentaries that I made in my concerns, and I just wanted to make sure that my name is attached to those concerns.
Okay. Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Motion to
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 4-0 vote. Item A3.
I have a comment card for item A3. Mr. Snow?
On the A3s, that's the last one. In the last one,
Wait. We're talking about item 3, sir?
is that the one? What was 3?
It's about ABC licensing.
Then that's about use that to look, make sure that the owner of the company has a machine for like a big license and all that for the kids and all that.
I'm sorry?
make sure the owner of the company with AC license, that's for alcohol, right?
Yes.
Then make sure the owner has on there, make sure they have special equipment, because you know, like a lot of cats fake license, face IDs and all that. Make sure they can.
Mr.
They can do a recommendation for that.
Thank you, but that's what the ABC reviews and makes sure of the licensee handles that. Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Item A4.
Item 4, I have a comment card, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Snow, who asks the question, what wiring are we talking about? Or is he if he's responsible for something we should pay?
I mean, what I'm trying to get at, but for one, if we did wrong on the wiring, like.
Mr. Snow, that's not what this item is about. I'll remind you, Mr. Snow, to please review the agenda if you're going to have comments about it so you understand what we're discussing. It has nothing to do with wiring. It was a tree that had fallen on a truck from a company that does wiring.
No,
Thank you very much, Mr. Snow.
Not by Googly, it's a company in L.A.
Thank you, Mr. Snow. Is there a motion?
But what's wiring is it? Like, what kind of company? What law is it?
There's a motion. There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item A5.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there's the resolution is to approve the progress report, but the progress report was not attached to the agenda, so I'd like to table this till next meeting if possible.
Okay. There's a motion to table.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 4-0 vote. Item
I have a comment card on that.
We're going to be tabling.
Oh, sorry. All right.
There was no information there, so we're going to table that for a future meeting.
Okay.
Item A6.
I have a comment card.
Okay.
Comment card from Mr. Snow. Investment authorities, what kind of workshops?
And what you mean by like workshops? I get nothing my water bill, Vidagomas and horses.
I'm sorry, Mr. Snow. It's not about water bills on this. And again, I request that you do some research and some studying on the agenda.
No, then what to tell them what's on the. See, when you guys make the agenda, right? You guys do the detailing. Workshop means like what kind of workshops? I know that you guys go to workshops, right? Reading the paper, right? You guys go to workshops, but no censorship involved with it. So, one time get in that lawsuit there, wiring, right? I looked it up.
Mr. Snow, this item's not about water bills. This is about a new bill brought forward from Assemblyman Alejo that kind of replaces the former RDA functions. So again, I request that you please do
Well, that's good then. You
some
don't want
studying on the item
it.
before the meeting. So when
Why I looked it up? That's it, Vallejo.
okay, well, thank you.
On the agenda.
All right,
So you
Mr.
guys
Snow.
when do agenda, make sure Vallejo.
Do you
and
have
all
any
that.
questions,
Thank
sir?
you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is
Motion
there-
to approve.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Move to item A8.
I have a comment card for A8. From Mr. Snow, who writes, I am for it. Fire department apply to, I'm sorry, Mr. Snow, I can't make this out.
I mean, I'm for the fire department, but like, what's the on the agenda again? Like I said, it has no detail what's it about. So I'm for the fire department. I know it's like some kind of union thing, or the contract thing or like not on the agenda. So I mean, like, and I know Bob Campbell now in charge of with the police. I was here that day, but I know the Bob Campbell took out the ordinances with my chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Snow. The item is about the SAFER grant, to extend the grant for a few more years that we currently have, that employs 12 additional firefighters. And once again, I'll request that you please do some research before the meeting so we can have a discussion on it.
Okay, that's good, because I want to tell the council, while watching the news, right, that, like all the
Mr. Snow, do you have a question on the item?
one thing that we're trying to for the grants, right? For the 150,000, they gave prevention with Westrick, and
Mr. Snow, there's a lot of business to be conducted tonight. We have to do a lot of study here to understand the questions we're asking. You can gather all that information before the meeting, so you're familiar with it. And if you have a question about or concerns about
I'll put my public comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other speakers on that item?
No, sir.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item A9.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I pulled this, and it's in regards to adopting the fiscal and budget policies, and I didn't have the prior budget policies and fiscal and budget policies to compare, so I just wanted to see if I could get an update on that.
Okay, I only have 26 seconds, so...
Sorry.
It just went to 3.
So, the fiscal and budget policy, I know, great. We created this policy because the policy is based on the Government Finance Officers Association's best practices. The city has, we've been using informal policies, but you've been using these best practices, but we wanted to get it in writing when we do for, like when we went for the bond, the rating agencies asked for copies of our policies. So we just wanted to have a formal policy that we put on our website so everybody can review. Some of the things that are in the policy is talking about having a balanced budget, which is something we've always done for the last since 7 years since I've been here. Having status reports and mid-year reviews, same thing that we've been doing. Having minimum reserves in our general fund and our enterprise funds. That's also we've been trying to achieve the 20%. When we do capital financing and debt management, and then human resource management, like another thing we've been doing, like limiting the programs to authorized staff that council has given us during the budget, and investments, which talks about safety and liquidity and yield. That's the main thing with the policy.
Thank you, and I commend you on doing that to keep it updated. And upon approval of the resolution, then we should be getting a copy as well, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Is that all the questions from council? Do we have any speaker cards?
I have a speaker card from Mr. Snow, Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
who says, will there be changes?
And the thing, what I mean by that, I talked to Brett, and Brett never emailed back, but I see a lot of favoritism. Because for a fact, Mr. Richard over there, and they said that's 43-man debt, right? And I wrote to you, I forwarded to the city manager, and you guys, and I wrote to Brad Sullivan, and Mr. Paul Rivers right there, the LG law firm.
Mr. Snow, once again, I'm going to ask you, please do some research on these topics before
What's capital?
asking a question or making comments. That is not about favoritism. This is about a policy that we need to have in the city.
And then we need to change the policy.
Well, we have changed the policy.
How?
If you have questions about this,
We're in debt.
well,
We're in debt.
I'm sorry, Mr. Snow, we've been paying down debt.
but we
very,
got
very
sent-
aggressively.
And fines. I watched the
Mr.
fines.
Snow, do you
I
have a
know
question
the
about this item,
changes.
sir?
It's no, Mr. Mayor. I want to argue on. I'm saying we're 10 days or 10 days, so you guys violated the violation. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other
No, sir.
comments?
So move.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0 vote. Move to item 810.
Yes, and I pulled this as well, just for an update, adopting the grant administration policies and procedures.
Okay, so the same thing as the fiscal and budget policies. Like I said, we've been using the best practices. This is just more putting it on paper. What we're trying to make sure is that the department heads, before they go to the grants, they go to the council and request that this is something that the council will support. A good example is like the Safer grant that was just brought to you is to make sure this is an item that the council wants to move forward with, so that staff does not spend time going after a grant that the council is not going to approve. I think that's the main thing is that, and it's also what staff or departments are responsible throughout the grant period too.
Right. Thank you for the explanation. And just wanted to request, since we can go ahead and adopt this tonight, is it possible to, like every 2 years, 3 years, to go back and look at these policies and procedures and update them so everything is current?
Right. I will say the GFOA does a good job of bringing out improved policies and best practices, and we try to follow those whenever possible, and that's when we will update them when those policies come out that apply to the city.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Let's find out if we have any
Okay.
speaker cards first.
I have a speaker card from Mr. Snow, sir, who wants to know if there's anything different.
So I mean by, here I go again. I can still say what I say. They got some anything. So whatever I say, that mean nothing. So thank you very much. So we should change a lot of things, right, Mr. Mayor and Council. So why don't you go ahead and approve it?
Okay, so I'm going to take it you don't have a question about it then. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other speaker cards? Is there a motion?
Yes, motion to approve resolution 2016-38.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you for both approvals.
Thank you. We'll move forward to item B.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. As you recall, the Dissolution Act that dissolved redevelopment agencies in California requires that the successor agencies to the redevelopment agencies dispose of their properties according to a plan. We came before you in August of last year with a request to authorize the executive manager to enter into to negotiate an exclusive negotiating agreement with TT&I developers for a build-to-lease education center at the Leatherback property. Our long-range plan allowed a window of time for the property to be transferred for governmental use that was an unmet need in our community. And education is one of our 9 economic development principles priorities, supporting enhancement of college education in our community. Exclusive negotiating agreement was executed in November. We met with the president of Gavilan in early September to review the long-range plan and our interest in a build-to-lease education center. There was a couple committee meetings with the Gavilan Community College District, but they determined at a meeting in early March to not pursue this enter into a MOU for this exclusive negotiating agreement. They elected to pursue development of an education center on their property that they've acquired near Fairview Road. So at this juncture, we need direction whether to continue to identify a governmental use for the property or to, as required by our long-range property management plan, issue a request for proposal qualifications for commercial development. The report does ask whether we should continue to pursue a higher education facility there. Is there any questions?
Let's open up for the speaker cards, and then we can have some conversations. If that's okay with the council.
I have a speaker card from Mr. Snow.
Well, it says here anyway. On February 28th, I went I know about the leather back. I'm for the leather back. And I asked the one February 28th, I went to the Gavin College over there, the main, and then we should go ahead and do that. And I think it was a while back when you guys were talking about this, YMCA was involved in another company. So when I asked over there, we should do research, like I said, center with the kids, right? And we should have a library. Because when Carson was talking about library with the Gavin College for our kids and adults. So that's my idea. So I'm for the kids. Kids are the future. And I do very knowledgeable about business. And I did my research and went to the meeting over there. And I've also sent out a lot of people in the city, people with kids, and the boards over there, supervisor couple over there. So, and therefore, to my idea. So the point is, we should go and go with that, and add like a little library with that waster thing, certain thing. Thanks.
Thank you.
And a comment card from Marty Richmond.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Marty Richmond from Hollister. I read carefully the remarks from the Board of Trustees at Gavin College. I will discuss a related issue that is not directly on this during my public comment. But reading those remarks carefully, there's no question that they have said they don't want to do it. There was no window left open in my interpretation. They were definitive and absolute. They had no interest in it whatsoever, and they were not going to do it. This was not a maybe, can we get better terms? There was nothing left on the table. They essentially sent the message they're not going to do it. So as far as Gavin College is concerned, I just don't see anything happening. I have no idea if there's any other alternate educational use that can be done, because I don't know what's available. I have to be honest with you. I would like to see that happen. Maybe we should go search around, see if there's a private educational thing going around. And if that doesn't happen, frankly, I don't see a good government use for that location, and I would hope that you would try to put something there that would generate revenue for the city. Most of our revenue comes from sales taxes. So if it was something that we don't currently have here, where it's not a matter of just moving the dollars from one location in the city to another location in the city, which is no net gain, that doesn't matter to me. But if it's something that gives us a net gain because it's something that our residents use and would like to have locally, I think that would be one of your top priorities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Are there any other speaker cards?
No, sir.
Comments from the council?
Mayor Velasquez, if I may, I just want to remind the City Council that this is an item for reviewing the Leatherback site for an educational center in conjunction with Gavilan College. If the city council would like to discuss alternatives or other options, it might be best for staff to bring that back at a future meeting, and then we can schedule a more broader discussion about the possibilities for that site.
I apologize if I went off the agenda. Excuse me.
It's okay, Marty.
If we could see I might be incorrect, but I thought there was a change in the law that gave the city more time or more options on what they can do with some of these properties. And I would like to see how we could bring that back for other opportunities.
For governmental use?
Governmental as a recreational center, which I think could qualify for some of the educational use also. Any other comments?
Well, I agree. I think if the way I read it also is Gavilan College has no interest in that property, then I suppose we should be opening up to other suggestions, whether that's an educational center, a library location, a government facility, or commercial development. I think we ought to look at all those options, because we are up against an 18-month timeline, I think, to make that decision and do something about it. So,
well, I believe that's the first thing we should understand. Is there a timeline any longer, or is that law changed?
And if you've heard of something where the law has changed, I'm not aware of anything, but we can check.
Okay. Councilmember Clower, you had a comment?
Yeah, just short remarks. I'm disappointed but not surprised, and like I think the rest of the council, I'd like to see this as a governmental use for education if possible. So that's kind of my main priority right now, and then we can look at it if that doesn't work out.
Okay. Yeah, I think and this, again, not to get too far off track, but I think that we want to have conversations with CSUMB, potentially, maybe set up a satellite campus for them. There's some alternatives that we can start looking at as well.
Absolutely.
Looking at memorandums of understanding in trying to prepare a draft with Gavilan and TT&I developers, it came to our attention that there's been some MOUs negotiated in other places where there's more than one educational institution, but Cal State Monterey Bay is right there. So.
Councilmember Luna, did you have a
Yes,
comment?
I just wanted to comment. Has there ever been a survey done as to how many students from San Bernardino County, City of Hollister attend Cabrillo College, Hartnell, where possibly a satellite campus can come into Hollister? Our closest campus, Gavilan College, which was actually first here in Hollister, is not interested in us. And I believe that even San Jose State University might be interested. So if we can just further, I would like to bring this back for further
Absolutely.
discussion.
So I think the direction there we heard was business use, governmental, recreation, educational, maybe put the partnership with the YMCA discussion there. So all the options back on the table so we can have a long conversation, maybe a special meeting on this so we're really thorough about it.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Move on to public input. Members of the public may address the City Council on any matter within the City Council's jurisdiction that is not on the agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with a maximum of 30 minutes per subject. Speaker cards are available in the foyer and are to be completed and given to the city clerk prior to speaking. State law prohibits the City Council from discussing or taking action on any item which is not on the agenda. Do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, sir. I have 3 speaker cards so far for public comment. The first card is from Keith Snow.
When you got about Elizabeth, I went to the meeting.
Mr. Snow, we cannot talk about that. That was on the agenda.
Okay. One thing that we're losing out on a lot of things. Our city is losing out. For one, I've been doing a lot of studying, a lot of research. I just thought of Bob Campbell, fire chief, figure out from Mike Chambers, he's a park guy now. So no code enforcement. So the point's right. will in our revenue, like a lot of revenue. And then the one thing is, like I asked before, we should have a people's committee. So wherever you guys do, you look at my committee, you guys should put people with it, with input. See, if you guys do youth committee with youth, right? The friend did, started it, created, then why can't there be a people committee with the local government, the committee there? See, there's nothing wrong with that part. And another thing, too, my friend Dave Wessick, in charge of the, because man left, the guy that we had before, right, the little cut he made. Now, my sewage, it smells, when I turn on my shower, I smell sewage. Bad, foul smell. So, not to me saying it, a lot of people. I live with no one but not here today. He's in District 4. You present District 4. Because for a fact is, I didn't say that today. So we're doing District 4, the resident District 4, and you making a little presentation go with people, do a little assistance with people, or where they went there. I smell a caca when I turn my faucet on before I get my shower. I turn my faucet before I brush my teeth. I smell poop, straight up poop.
Mr. Snow.
No, but let's get down to the truth here. Well, I mean, the point's right. There's a lot of things in our city should be changed. And I mean, I see cars on the lawns, things we miss our revenues. We don't create revenues. The little team you said last week, what you said, engineer?
Thank you very much, Mr. Snow.
You're welcome.
Marty Richmond.
Good evening again, Marty Richmond. First, I'd like to start by offering my sincere apologies to Councilmember Clower and the rest of the council for interrupting him at the last meeting. I should have waited until he was through speaking before I made my point about getting off the agenda, and I'm sorry that I interrupted him, and I mean it. I was not angry. My voice is naturally loud. It's from being in the Army too many years. You get a loud voice because you're yelling across the parade ground. So please accept my apologies. Number two is this business about Gavilan. I'm not talking about Leatherback. I'm just talking about Gavilan. There were quotes from the Board of Trustees that just blew the top of my head off. The president of Gavilan College saying, I don't know why there is no education center in Hollister. I find that hard to believe. The second one saying there will be a college in Hollister in 40 years. He said specifically 40 years. I think we voted for one in 2004. I still think we did. And we'll give them $26 million, our part of that bargain. And what we got for it is nothing. And now they're saying in 40 years, we'll get you something. Thank you very much. The people who are 10 years old will be 72 or whatever it is, okay, in 40 years, or 62. So when they're ready to go on early Social Security or whatever it is, the junior college will come in here, and their grandchildren will have already graduated high school. Okay, that's ridiculous. And I want to ask you to put on the agenda, if you decide to do so in the future, a chance to express our frustration on this with a no confidence vote in the Board of Trustees. I mean, it is one thing for them to explain their problem. It's another thing for them to insult this entire community by saying we're just grousing because we didn't get what we want. We didn't get what we were promised, not what we asked for. They promised it in exchange for tax monies that we didn't get. The final item is, based on the pavement report, I'm going to publicly ask you, and I know I wrote you an email, to consider putting $1 million of Measure E money aside a year to work on the roads. Listen, the pavement guys might have been off by 20%. Even if they were off by 20%, we need almost $3 million a year just to maintain the status quo. We need if they were off by 20%, we would still need $8.8 million to bring the roads up to standard. We're not going to get the $8.8 million without a lot of fuss and finding it. But we need the $3 million because we can't afford to fall further behind. So I recommend $1 million for Measure E, $800,000 from the gas tax that's already in the budget, and finally I'll wrap up by saying $1 million from the new transportation tax, 0.5%, and the three of them together will keep our head above water. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And finally, Marvin Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Marvin Jones from Hollister. It's about 2 weeks ago I noticed that the Public Works or whoever was putting a post on the driveway into the building at Dunn Park. People, drive up there, unload, whatever. It's interesting that concrete may have dried. It was certainly before the week was out. There was a city vehicle that had apparently jumped the curb there across from Brown Alley, driven across the sidewalk, across the grass, and up to the end of the porch there at Dunn Park to unload whatever materials they were. Citizens use that building. If they jumped the curb and went across the sidewalk and the grass and all to unload the supplies that they need for whatever function they have, they'd probably get in trouble. The Tuesday afternoon bridge game, which I try to make some days, there's some folks that get there by walking, walkers. Before that post got up, he would drive halfway down that driveway, get out and only have to walk 20 feet or so in their walkers. Now they've got to be halfway down the block. That's awkward. I can understand why the city wanted to put that up there. That's a nice stretch of concrete pavement. 100 feet long? It's the only stretch of pavement between 4th Street and South Street that isn't broken, cracked, uneven, bumpy, hard to drive on. So I can see why you want to protect that. But there's some unintended consequences. Again, the handicapped folks now got to walk 150 feet to get there where they used to walk 20 or 30 feet in their walkers, with their walkers. I'd like to recommend that maybe out on a West Street there that put in a loading zone so folks can only have to walk the 100 feet in there with their walkers there. Or folks only have to walk 100 feet to carry their supplies in. Again, that's a nice stretch of driveway there. It's not broken. It's not cracked. It's not going to get broken. It's not going to get cracked now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There are no more speakers,
No more
Mr. Mayor.
speakers. Thank you. We'll move forward with item D31, City Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And if I can respond real quickly to Marvin's comments. Yeah, we actually did put a post in there, and it was because citizens drive up the ADA accessible ramp at the corner and drive on a sidewalk. It's not a driveway. I think we need to be clear that it wasn't a driveway. It's not intended to be a driveway. And when you have citizens backing out of that, generally you can't see. There's a hedge there, and we thought that it absolutely is a safety. It's a safety issue for us, not only for our crews, but for other people that are dropping people off. We can look into doing a loading zone off of West or 6th. Thank you. And so we can. I'll have Mike. We can do some work on that. But the idea was, we don't want citizens driving up to the front door of the clubhouse. So, and then if I can, I'd like to take some of my time and let Mike just give you a real brief 30-second report on the activities out at the airport. We have a major construction project going on out there, and I think that you can take a quick look at see what we're doing out there, and then if we need to agendize something for a future meeting.
I'm uncomfortable with this going up without being on the agenda, having a discussion about the airport.
Well, it's an activity. It's a report. It's no different than, I mean, I can tell. It's just one slide.
I don't mind you reporting things that are happening, but we're having a conversation about a specific item.
You want me to give it?
You can give your part, yes.
All right. Mike, can I see the slide? That's our airport. As you know, we're going through a major rehabilitation out at the runway at the intersections of 31 and 26. The council approved the project back in October of 2015. Sorry. What you'll see there is the red lines on the taxiways and the runways is where the operations are actually taking place. We're doing a major rehabilitation of the runways, and then the yellow area is essentially the truck traffic. You've probably seen all the trucks in town with the orange and white flags on there. Those orange and white flags delineate the work being done on the airport. It allows pilots to see that we are actually closed and things are happening out there. So as you can see, the entire airport will be shut down between April 4th and April 21st. And that's it. So if you want an additional information as we get closer to the actual the April 4th date, we'd be more than happy to do that. That actually is on a Monday if you want a more detailed report. But I think that some of you folks had received an email about why the airport is shut down, and that's essentially why. Okay? And again, I should also say that these improvements have been planned for probably 20 years now. 8.
Would you say a report would be great, and also a letter that backs up that the FAA is requesting or requires it to be closed, just so we have background information on it, so we can get a better full report put onto the agenda for the next meeting.
But there really isn't much pavement out there now, so I mean we can do that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is that the end of your update? All right. We'll move to item 32, the Hollister Urban Area Water Update.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I would like to confirm that I am Harry Blum, but I have nothing whatsoever to do with CH2M Hill. It's nice that was included in there, but it has nothing to do with me at this time.
Okay.
I would like to give you a report on 3 activities. The first is one that's near and dear to your heart, and it's the Chromium 6 issue. At your last regular meeting, you approved accepting a contract with HDR, our consultant, to go forward with the pre-design of that, the Chromium 6 work. And the major item inside of that Chromium 6 implementation pre-design is the crosstown pipeline. And tomorrow, we'll be walking the various alignments for the crosstown pipeline, and there are 2 major ones that were described to you previously, and we're well aware that this could be a sensitive issue, and we'll be considering all of the ramifications associated with any alignment that's chosen. But based upon an inquiry that I received during the week, I'd like to emphasize that we have a scheduled commitment to implement the Chromium 6 work and the solution, and we don't want to be in a protracted negotiation for right-of-way that may delay the project for an extended period of time. So that will be a factor in establishing the precise alignment, and it's some minor variations to accommodate that. The second point is that we are continuing to update the master plan, and that's been presented to you previously. The master plan that you've adopted and have used was approximately 10 years old. It was given an update about 2010. And inside of that, it strongly urged that the demand forecasts for water and the potential for supplies be updated in 10 years from the previous report. And so the master plan will consider as its, let's say, scope, the Crosstown Pipeline as well, because not only does it deliver water for the chromium-6 solution, but as we pointed out to you, it delivers water to improve quality throughout the service area of both the city and Sunny Slope County Water District. The last point is the work that's going on at the West Hills plant. The rains have not seriously delayed the work there. It made it a little sloppy, and there's have to be a little bit of reorganization. But the contractor is into the job now about 6 months. He was given a notice to proceed in October, and we're in March. And I checked the invoices, the earned value to date is about 25%. So he's on track by all of our measures. And the big hole that we've been telling you about, which is for the clear well, it's a big tank that holds the stores the treated water to balance the deliveries to both you and to Sunny Slope. Is that excavation is completed, the concrete is for the base is placed, and a specialty contractor is in placing the ring concrete now, and it's huge. It's 60 feet in diameter, 40 feet in depth, and they place a ring about every other day, and those rings are 2 to 3 feet high. So it's an impressive operation with large cranes and elephant trunks and big concrete trucks out there. We'll show at this week's governance committee meeting, for the two of you that are on the governance committee, some photographs. And if you think they're interesting, we'll add to them, and maybe at a future council meeting we can show similar photographs. That concludes my update.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dick.
Item E, there's no business. Item F, 51. Bill, who's handling F51?
David's coming down.
Okay.
Good evening. This item is to approve an amendment to a professional services agreement with Development and Public Finance. This will allow them to do the processing and work closely with our city attorney to make sure that CFD number 2, or Community Facilities District number 2, is processed correctly, and that properties are levied correctly. CFD number 2 is for base fees for police and fire, and they're collected each year on property taxes for those properties that are within that district. Currently, any property that annexes into the city or into does a development within the city will annex into CFD number 4 and number 2. So if you remember, CFD number 4 was for the other improvements, maintenance of the other improvements such as streetlights and landscaping, sound walls, things like that. There's a fee that the developer will pay. It's $2,000. They pay to the city. We turn around and pay that to the consultant each time they do this work. On top of that, we collect 10%, which would be an additional $200 to handle our paperwork processing, our administrative fee. So if there's any questions.
Are there any questions from council? Councilmember Clower?
So the fee is per annexation per project, no
Yes.
matter the size of the project?
No matter the size of the project. That's correct.
And it's just the one time to get it,
Yes.
and then who handles it after that?
They'll establish on the list and help us each year putting making sure that they're adequately assessed with the assessor's office.
So the work is the same whether it's 2 units or 200 units? It's the same work essentially?
Yeah, pretty much it is.
There's a budget. Part of what they do, Councilman Clower, is they develop a budget for, and this is not with regard to the police and fire, this is with regard to CFD4. But what they do is they develop a budget for the scope of services to be provided to the project. And they allocate a dollar amount based on whatever the fair market value is of the services and the materials that are going to be needed. And so the project is assessed, and I think they build in a cost of living increase as well. So the project is the individual properties are assessed based on whatever scope of services will be provided for that particular project, and they differ a little bit. The services being provided to the Bella Central project are a little different than the services to be provided to the Benchmark project on Villages.
Is it safe to say though that a 200 home project is going to take less time to do than a onesie or twosie? Because there's going to be less things to take into consideration.
No, we talked about with them, and pretty much they're going through the same process regardless of the number of lots. You have to go through the process that's prescribed by law to ensure that it's legally collected, and it's the same. The only thing that's different is when they list out the APN numbers for the projects that's going to be included into that.
But if they're looking at improvements, and you've got, say, a retention pond and half a mile of sound wall and 3 miles of streets as opposed to 40 feet of street frontage, it doesn't seem like it would be as costly for them to do it.
Well, CFD number 4 handles all that, all the infrastructure improvements. CFD number 2 is for police and fire services. CFD number 4, we collect $5,000 from the developer who we pay the consultant to. We also collect 10% on top of that. This CFD number 2 is a flat rate to all the different businesses or all the different properties that are assessed that, and that's why the cost is actually much lower, because they don't have to go through and actually review the budget for that particular for each project, except for they do that in CFD number 4. CFD number 2 is a flat rate.
Okay, so this is just for number 2.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from council? The question I have, when they're looking at the numbers on the fire and police, they're taking the current budget numbers? Is that how they're?
No, it's based on when CFD number 2 was created in 1995.
Yeah.
So there's the CPI index. So City of Hollister had CFD1 that originally started way back when. That was a police and fire Melrose district that charged $250 per unit, and it lasted 20 years. We realized early on that it was not in our best interest that we couldn't keep up with inflation going with a flat rate, so we adopted CFD2. CFD2 has a CPI that's built into it, and it's in perpetuity. So all the properties now that are being annexed or developed or have tentative maps, one of the conditions is that they annex into CFD2. This is the one that Dave is speaking of. So what happens now? And roughly, I think when we had the conversation about in the county, when we were talking about a per door fee, it's roughly $410, I think, now a year, and that's based on the CPI increase over the last 21 years. Mm-hmm. And so what you have now is basically we collect, I don't know, about a little over 800,000, and is that right, Brett? About 800,000 in Melrose, and then right away we split it 50-50. 50 goes to fire, 50 goes to police.
I guess my question would be, being that those numbers were created in the early 90s before the costs started to skyrocket on the public safety, would it not be better to reanalyze those numbers or maybe create another district that, if you break down the numbers in the police and fire, you're looking at $500-600 for each. If you look at strictly through the budget numbers, and obviously we're not keeping up to some of these costs. Just wondering, is there a way we can have a better look at these numbers?
Well, certainly what we can do is probably talk to them about establishing CFD 5. That's not a problem to do. I will say that I think with recent legislation, and Paul might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, public safety in Belarus districts are getting harder and harder and challenged more and more frequently now in California. So, but we can have that conversation with them. Because there was a point where we were going to create our new district number 4. Our initial discussions were actually to include everything in CFD4. That would be a police and fire one, and the infrastructure improvements and the maintenance and lighting. But I think at that point they recommended that we leave CFD2 alone. We create a new CFD4. But if you want, I can bring something back with a proposal to have them look at a new district.
I would like to look at that number, because if you look at the fire department currently with the SAFER grant, we're staffed to where we should be. But what happens when that grant goes? Those are our true costs now. And also the police department, we're understaffed, but we're using numbers, current budget numbers, but in reality we should have 10 more officers or more, right? So what are the true numbers that we need in the community to be safe? And that's how it should be reflected into those numbers. Otherwise, we're short every year.
Yeah, we can talk to them about it.
Okay. Just wanted clarification on that. Okay. Any other questions or comment cards?
I have a comment card on item F51 from Keith Snow.
In the bill, I want to call it the report. And then when I looked at Google, the company, where it's on the agenda, what we need to do, I'm going to talk to Bob. I'm going to meet with them. We're with District. We need to create revenue. And that create revenue, get more police officers and fire department, and where the government already doing the company, going good on the agenda. So I'm put that there too, so you can afford it to you, so we're on the agenda for there. So when you have a chance, they can give me a copy of the report. They can do, and the other one you mentioned, Mary mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other cards? City Clerk?
I'm checking.
Okay.
Not for 51.
Thank you. All right. Is there a motion from the council?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. 4-0. Move to item 52.
Item F52, Mr. Mayor, is a second reading. Read by title only and adopt ordinances number 1127 and 1128 having to do with alcohol sales during downtown special events and massage parlor update to reflect 2014 legislative changes.
Okay. There's been no changes, obviously, so we could move forward without public comment.
I have a public comment card, sir.
Oh, we will go ahead and open it public then.
Mr. Snow?
When he Westbrook, he never emailed back the name of the fire South Falls, right? But I want the copy of the with the legislature were with the other report being never got the report, so maybe the city manager had the report. So you can get a little wet chicken and send me that report. So I put that in my office with all the other stuff I got. All for years I've been there. So I got a lot of information. Thank you. So you get that to me because I haven't got it yet. But I had to Google the 5 massage parlors. But by the time I need that report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Snow. No other speaker cards? All right, is there a motion
So moved. Second.
on ordinance 1127 and 1128?
Yes.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0 vote. It is 7:30. I know we have some students here tonight. We'll take a 5-minute break for you guys to sign your cards and make a run for it. or we could take a longer break. And let's move forward to item G661, report from city council members regarding their committees. Councilmember Luna?
I do not have a report this time.
Thank you. Councilmember Friend?
I had no committee meetings.
Councilmember Clower?
I had an ad hoc committee meeting earlier today with Councilmember Friend and Supervisors Botello and Dela Cruz in regards to medical marijuana, and we discussed where we thought each entity was going and kind of the different issues that we were dealing with. And I think within the next 2 or 3 council meetings, we should probably put something on the agenda to talk about Councilmember Friend and my recommendations as far as where we should go as a city.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't have any. I didn't have any committee meetings. So we'll move forward to item 62, informational reports from City Council. Councilmember Luna?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the San Benito County Board of Supervisors meeting on March 8th, and also I had the opportunity to go visit the business, I guess you could call it business, my father's house at 910 Monterey Street, the old Hazel Hawkins Hospital, with Linda. And I spent almost 2 hours there. She gave me a tour, and actually there was people that were coming in for a meal. And I was very impressed with what Linda is doing, and I especially paid attention to the young people that were there that had come in from high school, homeless students that were actually in the hall doing their homework. And then some of them from the junior high school that were also there, their families, their parents were actually there waiting for them. And they came in and they had a meal and they did their homework, and then they were gone. So I just want to say that I think what Linda is doing is something good for the community. And I know that the neighborhood around sometimes will complain about seeing different things going on. I have been called at least 3 different times, and at the time that I'm called, and it doesn't matter what time it is, I get in my car and I drive down there. There's a church there. There's people that congregate outside before going into their church building or room. There's other 2 agencies that meet there, and people are coming in and out. Yes, they are, but they're going to meetings. Mm-hmm. So it's not homeless people that are hanging out outside in the parking lot. So I just want to get that point across, because I thought it was interesting enough that I happened to be inside. Some of the people didn't know who it was, and they talked to me and they let me know their needs. So I just want to say thank you to Linda for that opportunity. Tomorrow, I just wanted to announce that on the west side, the Hollister Community Center, we are having a meeting there, the West Side Community Meeting. This is the second meeting that I'm having in my district, and we will have the planning department or planning staff there to give an update on what is going on and just informing people, because I really believe that the more information we can give out to our residents, the better it is. They have questions, and yes, they should have questions about what we're doing here. Also, on March the 30th, many of you will remember that Cesar Chavez, his second office was in Hollister. His first one was in Delano. The second one was in Hollister on East Street. In commemoration of his birthday, there's throughout the nation, there's events going on. And the students at the high school will be having a walkathon. They will walk the same route that Cesar walked in 1974. And so it is a peaceful walkathon. And so I'm glad that some people are responding that will be there. And so they're meeting on the corner of 6th and East Street and just walking the same route and going back to that corner. So anybody is invited to attend, and we welcome everybody. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friend?
Yeah, I just have last Saturday we had a all veterans dinner at Vets Hall with 400 people there, and it was well attended. It was an exceptional night, just dinner and a bunch of old vets getting around telling war story. So it was a very nice, and all their families and everything. It was very nice. That's all I have.
Councilmember Clower?
Yes, a couple things. Number one, just kind of want to remind the council and the public that I'm still trying to push for the multifamily residential lots to be included in new home subdivisions. And I think that with the issue in terms of the tax sharing, we may have an opportunity to work that into some development agreements in the near future. So I'd like to kind of keep our sights on that. It's very difficult to build any multifamily, so it's hard to tell developers that they need to do it. But I think that they can improve the streets for us, get everything in place, and then hopefully allow somebody else to do it, whether it's somebody like Chispa or if they sell it to a private developer. It should get us a step closer. So hopefully, maybe in the next couple months, that things move kind of slow, we can look at that. And then the second thing is I'd like to have an agenda item at the next meeting to discuss a possible zero waste ordinance that would require grocery stores to give leftover food or food that's going to expire to nonprofits. So like the food pantry or Fishes and Loaves or some kind of nonprofit that can then give that food to the needy. I think that in a place like Hollister, where we grow as much food as we do, we shouldn't have as many people as hungry as we have. So I think that's the first part of it. And the second part of it, even the leftover produce that maybe isn't suitable for human consumption, if we can get that set up to give to nonprofits that deal with animals. So whether it's a horse rescue or some other type of animal rescue, I know that we have it because I've talked to a couple nonprofits that'd be interested in accepting those goods. So hopefully at the next meeting that'll be on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to also put on the agenda for the next meeting the creation of an ad hoc committee for the roads, so we can start discussing or get a little more planning involved if the sales tax does pass, so we can move right away on repairing our roads. March 8th at the supervisors meeting, I also attended that meeting. I was there advocating to reopen San Justo Reservoir. I'm hoping the supervisors will move more aggressively towards reopening the reservoir. It's a beautiful location, and it's a shame that the community can't use that facility while at the same time paying taxes to maintain it. We need to see what we can do to get that open as quickly as possible. And to extend what Councilmember Luna was talking about, Linda Lampe, she was also nominated for the KSBW, what's that award? Jefferson Award. I keep forgetting that. I keep thinking about the Golden Apple because of the teachers at kids' schools. And she absolutely deserves it. She does so much incredible work throughout the community, her and her husband. And that's without any financial help from anybody else. They take out of their pocket and make it all happen. So an incredible couple out there. So thank you, Linda and Pat, for all you do out there. Let's move over to City Manager.
Just one real quick one is we had our first Hollister Youth Committee meeting last Thursday night. It went really, really well, and I think we're going to be meeting on the third Thursdays from here on out. And they're working on their bylaws right now, which will come to the City Council hopefully sometime very, very soon for formal adoption. So that's it for me.
Thank you. City Attorney.
Nothing to report.
Thank you, Chief.
Just Junior Giants has moved along. We're around 300 kids, still looking for adults and community members over 18 to help us with team coaching and team parenting. Thanks.
Excellent. City Clerk?
No report.
Okay, thank you. We'll move forward with item G63, Chamber of Commerce update on tourism.
Just There we go. Okay. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I would like to thank my board members for being here this evening and for sticking through the board meeting. However, this is a short one compared to some of the ones that we've all sat through. We would like to give you an update. Oh, I have to turn it on. An update on the City Council or the City Council's funds that they gave to the Chamber to advance tourism within our county. This was something that you guys had on your 2014 agenda or in your budget. We didn't start working on it until February of 2015. So this is what's happened in 1 year's time. We've established the website. We have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, and a Pinterest page, plus Instagram, which I forgot to put on there. We have, in January, we had 902 unique visits to the website. The website's been up for 5 months, so we are just now getting started on getting people to the website. In February, we had 682 unique visits. Our Facebook page is up to 400 people following us, and we had one post that had over 2,000 likes or views within the last month. We've had visitor bags that we've distributed at Bellotto Park for their large functions. The Olive Festival, Oils of Piscinus, which has a little dude ranch there, several RV groups, and cycling groups. So overall, we've handed out 1,100 visitor bags that has information about San Benito County. And I'm sorry that Councilman Gomez is not here because he was one of the ones that really fought to get this tourism going. The visitor's guide was completed in December of 2015. We had 5,000 of them printed up. We're down to less than 400 left. They've been in 3 locations at San Jose Airport, at United Airlines and Hearst, at the Pismo Beach Visitor Center, and all of the other listed venues, plus several others within our community and outside our community, including the Salinas Visitor Center. The Central Coast Visitors Map was also distributed between Los Angeles, San Francisco hotels, and visitor centers, 277 of them. We are listed on there as a visitor center. It had our airport, our fly-in or whatever for Hollister Airport that was on it last year in 2015. It's in the 6 California airports. We also had our visitor's guide that we sent with the Hollister Airport to Las Vegas when they were there, and they handed out 1,200 of them. And that is a video, but it should load, Tom. I don't know if it will. If this is on a slideshow, it should load on your. Oops, no, back. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'll keep talking. Maybe he'll get it. Oops, maybe. Okay. We had promotional tours. We had 3 sets of riders come in. We've been in the Examiner, on Facebook posts, online magazines, videos, and the latest video was released on March 8th, which is attached, but for somehow it's not working. We have a 1-year contract with Big Blend Radio, and they interviewed 17 community leaders and members about different things that were going on in the community. We had 27 posts and pages in their online magazine, and they've had over 45,000 visitors to that magazine a month. We still can't get that going. Okay. It's not going? Okay. We attended the Olive Festival with a booth. We had over 300. We handed out over 300 visitor bags and the luggage wraps that some of you have found different things to do with other than for luggage. We hope that you will put those on when the mayor goes to China. If he will has them all on, I'll give him some to hand out there. It's probably where they originated, but they're back here and we can take them back. Just saying.
You're right.
We were in Sunset Magazine. I'm sorry, this is Yosemite Magazine. We had a 2-page article Thousands of these were printed. They were in Target, Long's, Rayleigh's throughout California, Washington, and Oregon. We had it available in print and online. We are also on myyosemitepark.com, and they have over 75,000 subscribers to their e-newsletter that we were in. And we have a 12-month targeted email lead program that's already generated over 6,000 emails from people who want more information about San Benito County. This is one of the posts that myyosemite.com, that's San Juan Golf Course, and then the Hollister Pepper Tree concerts. So my Yosemite contest was a road trip that we participated in with the Central California Tourism Council. It generated, like I said, 6,241 emails that we collected, and those were people that specifically asked for more information about San Benito County. We ran 2 advertising ads on KSBW, one the weekend of Thanksgiving because there's a lot of people visiting the Monterey Peninsula during Thanksgiving, and then one during the AT&T. They each ran 26 times. I'm trying to go fast. Currently in production, that was your first 50,000. The currently in production is 2016-2017 is our gateway map to the Pinnacles. If you see the one that says Pinnacles National Park, Soledad gave that one up. That one is in all the certified folders. And you see these big displays when you go in hotels and stuff throughout California and all over. Soledad did not get their grant to reuse it, so I picked that up right away. This is going to be in over 300 locations within California, and that is due out May 1st. The next one is the Central California Tourism Council. They put out the one that says Central Coast. I have the Hollister Rally, Hollister Airport, Pinnacles Visitor Center, and the Wine Trail. And I was trying to get Mission San Juan Bautista, but they told me I was getting too greedy. So they cut me off, and they let me know today before I had already sent this in that we wouldn't get the Mission San Juan Bautista in there. But we have a lot of information in that will also be going out. We're developing guided tours for bird watching, a scenic tour, for those who want to take a scenic tour of San Benito County. We'll have a wine trail map, a stargazing map, cycling map, and we had someone today email me that wants to provide us with all the barns in San Benito County that he has taken, and we are going to develop a barn tour that you can drive around San Benito County and see all the old barns. It was just a photographer that came to our county and has offered it to us. This is our Sunset magazine. It's due out June 1st. The online will have a link back to Discover San Benito County. We had a retractable banner designed, but since it was raining, I did not want to bring it out this evening. But if you want to see it, it's at the chamber office. Uh-oh, what did I break? It's at the chamber office. We had to trademark our logo and the Discover San Benito County. We've had someone who is trying to use that, so we've had to pay an attorney to trademark, not our, no, you pointed, but no, conflict of interest. And so we've had to pay an attorney that deals in that. Unfortunately, that was a cost that we didn't expect, but we also want to protect that logo because we spent a lot of money having that logo designed, and we don't want anybody else infringing on it. There is a San Benito County, Texas also. There we go. Going forward, we want to design and purchase a show booth that we can take to festivals, trade shows, and possibly the state fair. We want to have a tourism event trailer, which is a little teardrop trailer that you can have advertising on the outside, and when you open up the backside, and there's pictures in the next slide, that you have all your pamphlets and all your information. You can take that to festivals. And Strawberry Fest, I've already got people that on the tourism board that say that they will tow it to different festivals throughout California. We want to also get on radio, television advertising in Northern California, Central Valley, and on into Oregon, depending on our budget. We want to place ads online and in print in hiking, cycling, and birdwatching and historical publications. Develop a seminar for businesses within our community so they can take advantage of tourism. And then we also want to develop a new tourism guide. I had examples and I forgot to bring them. This would be a glossy tourism guide that looks like the big boys do it. We had one that because of the budget we had last year that was on the first slide, that we could only do so much with our budget. This is a professionally done directory. It would be combined tourism and a directory to all the businesses within San Benito County. So, this is your 2015 budget, actually, that you approved in 2014, but in the few months that we had between February and October, this is where your $50,000 went. I condensed a lot of it. A lot of it went to designing the website, which I think our website is amazing. There's some pictures in there and content. We had to hire some people to help us write it. So that's where the $50,000 went, and I have a better breakdown if anybody wants to see it. This is your July 2015 to June 2016. This is where the $50,000 will be going. I broke it out a little more because this is my second presentation. A couple of these are estimates because we haven't gotten the final bill. I have combined several things together, so if you want to see a better breakdown, but it was just way too long to fit on one slide. You can see that I have $7,400 left over. As a reform banker, I never want to spend every single penny that I have just in case there's some surprises that come up. And there may be with trademarking our logo and the tagline and stuff that we don't know is going to come up in the next few months. So that we do have a little bit left over from the $50,000 for the 2015-2016. So where's Brett? I don't want him to faint when he sees this next slide. So going forward, since budget is coming up, this is our projected budget and what we would like to do. This is what I am requesting from the city of Hollister. We collected $178,000 in TOT tax last year. I'm requesting $30,000 from San Benito County, or County of San Benito. They gave us $18,000 last year. San Juan Bautista, I'm putting in a request for $15,000. They gave us $2,500 last year. So our projected budget investment, I see somebody laughing over there, for 2016-2017 is $145,000, and these are the items that we would like to spend it on going forward. If we want to bring people to our community, we have to spend the money and get the job done. $50,000 is only taking us so far. We've also put in a lot more staff time and administration time than I thought we were going to. We only had $12,000 budgeted last year, and it's more like $25,000 in hours that we are putting in to the tourism. So that is also the trailer that would be towed. It would have Pinnacles on one side, our mission on the other side, and then Discover San Benito and our logo on the back, and then flip up. It wouldn't have that bar or whatever it is. Well, it might, but it wouldn't have that bar or whatever. It would have all leaflets and information, all self-contained, to take to different festivals and things. And we do have a city councilman from San Juan Bautista that is kind of spearheading this and working on the trailer for us. And I know Councilman Friend has talked to him about it. Okay, any questions? I went as fast as I could.
Councilmember Clower?
Yes, sir.
Over the weekend, Santa Clara Valley Wine Trail, they had their passport weekend the last couple days. It's a pretty awesome event. There's people all over the place going from one place to the next. You see a lot of the county, a lot of places you wouldn't normally see. Is there any talk about doing something like that with our local wineries?
The Hollister Downtown Association already does that. And I think this is their 4th year.
Not
like the passport.
Not a beer and wine stroll. I'm talking get people in the cars, have them drive down the highway. They see probably probably 5 times as much in 4 hours than they would in a whole year. I learned a lot about Gilroy yesterday, being the designated driver, driving around a bunch of girls, and it's pretty cool. And I think it's something that we might want to look at. I mean, you have to get buy-in from the wineries, obviously, but I know that the girls had no problem spending money on bottles of wine toward the end, so it's got to be good for everybody.
I would want to be very careful and not step on the Hollister Downtown Association's toes because they started the wine stroll, but it's something that we can talk to them about, maybe partnering together with.
Okay, and then looking at your slide here for the budget, you have $100,000 toward radio, TV, print, online media, and only 15 toward social media. 1,500. Excuse me.
That's because we do most of it in-house.
Okay, but I think that it would be money well spent to spend a lot more money on social media advertisement, because what happens when you see a TV commercial or something, you see it, you think about it, maybe you forget about it. You can't do anything right away. But when something scrolls across your feed on Facebook, you can click it, you can do all your research, you can actually book your flight within 5 minutes, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. There's a Facebook page called Visit Tuluatin Valley, somewhere in Oregon. I had never even heard of it.
Tualatin.
Yeah, sure.
It's their wine country.
It's their, yeah.
But it was their Facebook ads were cool enough to where I looked it up and said, "What's going on here? Because why am I seeing it?" I think there's something to be said about spending a little bit more money on social media, and you can reach a lot of people for relatively cheap. And all you have to do is press boost post on the stuff that you're already doing. So it's pretty neat. Did we talk? Maybe I'm just lost. But did we talk a while back about a marathon or a half marathon or something?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
And then what happened to that?
And there are several within our community that we already have. And so we didn't want to take away from those. So we had talked to the fire department about partnering with the fire department. And then they went through some changes within their their chief, and so we have not gotten back to them about partnering with them, or we could partner with the Red Ribbon or something. But to try to reinvent and do another one, we did look into it. We looked into hiring a company, and it was way over the budget we had.
So what was the distance that we were originally looking at, or you were originally looking at?
23 miles.
We were looking, yeah.
The full marathon?
Yeah.
Okay,
and
because there's people who will search for full marathons because that's what they want to do.
Right.
They have no interest in 5Ks or 10Ks, which is more of a local thing, but they'll do destinations to go run.
And we did map out several routes. The only problem that we had with that is we had an awful lot of roads that we had to close down. And so, like I said, we checked into a couple of companies to doing that for us, and we did not have the budget to do it. So it's kind of been put on the back burner. And that's something that we can look at going forward.
Okay. And then I guess my last little comment, and it's probably not a big deal, but we're fronting most of the cost, and on the trailer, it's something in San Juan Bautista and something that benefits us in San Benito County. But there's nothing specifically that says City of Hollister. And I kind of have a little bit of an issue with that.
The
trailer that...
Well, this is the budget for all three, if you notice.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
From and I understand that. And the 10,000 is including entry fees to different festivals, so that we can have it there. The cost of the booth, just different things that we are going to do with it.
I don't have a problem with the cost of the trailer because I actually think it's pretty cheap. But it's just the fact that we're carrying 2/3 of the cost of everything in your proposed budget. And yet it doesn't say Hollister anywhere on anything on the trailer.
Okay.
So I don't know where to go from there, but I think it's a point.
Okay.
Okay. I would, any comments, council members?
Actually, I'd like to sit down with you, Julie.
Okay.
And go over some of, your report here. I can agree with Councilman Clower in regards to the city of Hollister. We've got to put that name out there more often, because I see if the trailer has Pinnacle and then the Mission San Juan Bautista, the majority of the tourists that come here end up in San Juan Bautista, with El Teatro Campesino, especially during the winter months with all their productions. It's packed over there, and it's people from throughout California that are here. So in all the events that you've got planned, what do you have? And that's one of the reasons I kind of wanted to sit with you over it.
Sure.
Because what do you have for the winter? I mean, the summer is great. And people can come to the parks, enjoy the scenery around San Benito County. But I know that they get a lot of people during the winter.
They do. One thing I'm trying to work on San Juan is actually keeping their stores open during the week so that people can visit them during the week. But if you followed us on our Facebook page, we have pushed a lot of things to do in the wintertime in San Benito County. We do have itineraries and stuff. Have you gone to the Discover San Benito page? There's a lot of itineraries, and they do take into consideration the winter months, too.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention to you that in speaking with El Consulado de Mexico in San Jose, they're very interested in our community. They're very interested in possibly eventually having a sister city in Morelia, Michoacan. And you realize that that city alone is so historical in art, in the arts, that Teatro Campesino in 1971, they went and performed over there, and they remember them. And so, see, there's a connection there already. So if there's a possibility of moving forward, with the sister city, it seems like everything you've mentioned here today can be matched to Morelia, Michoacan. So we'll sit down and talk.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
No, once again, Julie, thank you for your report. I know that was one of the stipulations we put on you when we started this, and you've done an outstanding job coming back to us and showing us exactly where the money is going. Whether we completely agree with how you're spending it, at least you're bringing the product back to us. That's it.
The name issue is a big issue, and I think really we're losing opportunity there. People are very familiar with the name Hollister, and they want to know, they've heard of it. I think it really should be tied back in, because when you say Hollister, people are interested. San Benito County is San Benito County. There's not a lot, you have to build that name. So why rebuild it when you can take the name Hollister? And it's like anything, Napa or Santa Barbara, it's not counties, it's a city that brings people in. So definitely like to see that placed in there where people are seeing it and they're talking about it and they're interested. Because they don't know where they've heard it, but they've heard it.
Right.
So it's going to be very important. I think, Councilmember Clower is correct on the dollar usage for promotion. In this type of, you're trying to bring in people, radio and TV, yeah, but when people capture something on their phone, and they're all using their phones now, they can respond to it if it's interesting enough to them. So I think that's very important. I also think it's time we start seeing what we can do as far as promoting more of the Airbnb and start helping people establish their own residence to establish bed and breakfast. We have Joshua, but we need more locations, and that'll help bring in more people. I like the idea of the barn tour, and again, as Carson was pointing out, the wine tour, it was around for a while. I know there was some squabbling back in the day of the wineries, but somebody has to go back and have a conversation with them.
And we are redoing the map. That was
Yeah.
part of last budgets.
And
So we are redoing the map.
People
on
want to
that.
go out and have a good time, and they can see some of the beautiful scenery throughout the county if we can put that back together. So it's again, tying everybody back together. If we weren't going to promote and become a tourism economy, we have to really pull together to make that happen. So I really want to see the Discover Hollister San Benito County Hollister, Hollister, Hollister. And I think it's going to play an important part of getting people's attention.
Okay. We do own all the domains. If somebody Googles Hollister, we own like 9 different domains that have Hollister in it. And so it directs them to our website.
I just had a quick question. We talked about it at the tourist committee about the truck, the dinner trucks.
Food truck festival?
Food truck festival.
Mm-hmm.
Has that gone any further?
Yes, we talked about it at the last meeting. We've contacted a couple of groups that do that. One of them is not interested in coming to San Benito County because we're too small, and we're negotiating with another one right now.
Those are pop-ups.
Yeah, we'll have that conversation. Other than that, I'm pleased to see what's happening here. There's good focus, good effort. I think, again, some things have to be tweaked, and you know that.
Mm-hmm.
But if we could move forward on some of those, so we're really the foundational issues, the Airbnb, it's just for the, if they're staying it with the family, they're going to have a lot more information, and they're going to visit more places.
Right.
So.
We do have to be careful, though, that we can collect the TOT tax from all those Airbnbs also.
Well, we do, and
yeah.
it all comes together.
Not the bed and breakfast, but the Airbnbs,
right,
it's hard to track
right.
them because we do have several.
That's the important part, but what we're trying to do is get the momentum first,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I'm pointing out here.
I'm just impressed, Julie, that you could get your board to sit here for 2.5 hours. That's
I know.
pretty cool.
And we only have an hour more for you guys to.
No, they're leaving.
So thank you guys for.
And one of my
day.
tourism committee members is here too, and a past board member.
Again, thank you. You guys are doing great work.
Thank you.
It's looking really good.
Can I just make a quick comment on what Julie said? This has gone on for about 18 months. I'm Frankie Gallagher.
Do you want to come up to the microphone so the people at home can hear you?
I'm Frankie Gallagher, and I'm the chairperson of the board for the San Benito County Chamber of Commerce. And Julie has done this in the span of about 18 months. And pretty much for the first year, she held the whole office by herself. So the fact that she's accomplished everything she has in the span of about 18 months or less probably is pretty incredible. So I think we need to give her a lot of accolades for what she's accomplished, the networking that she's done, and just getting this far in the span of time she has and pretty much doing it on her own. So I just wanted to make sure that she got the recognition for that.
And you understand it's the board behind her that is making this happen. So all of you, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
But what has she done lately?
H, I, J, and K, there's no business.
I'll move for adjournment.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight.
We could have been out of here 20 minutes earlier if we